Hi everyone, it's Dr. A, and in today's video, we're answering the question, what is a GLP-1? And while my goal is to answer that question within today's video, I do want to let you know that the content in this video is intended for educational purposes only. It should not be considered medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding diagnosis or treatment decisions. Medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro have become household names. In fact, it was initially prescribed to treat people with type 2 diabetes, but more recently, it's been used to help millions of people lose weight, lower blood sugar, and even reduce the risk of certain cardiovascular diseases. And in today's video, I'd like to provide you with some language to describe and explain what a GLP-1 is, how it's produced, and why GLP-1 medications are utilized for treating diabetes and/or obesity. We'll also take a moment to discuss some of the common side effects associated with their use as well. Now, one of the things you may be familiar with is that each of the medications we've referenced are referred to as GLP-1s, and we'll talk about what this stands for and what it means in just a moment. But before we get there, let's explore a question together. If we could design the perfect hormone that responds right after we've eaten a meal, what might we want it to do? Well, specifically, we want it to do four things in particular. We want it to raise insulin, lower glucagon, slow stomach emptying, and we want it to tell our brains that we're full. So let's talk about why that's the case. We'd want it to raise insulin because after a meal, our blood sugar levels begin to rise. So let's use a graphic here on the screen to explain it. Let's say we've just consumed a meal primarily containing carbohydrates. It'll be broken down through the process of digestion into glucose, and that glucose can be found in our bloodstream. Now, this allows for insulin to be released from our pancreas, specifically by the beta cells. And from here, insulin binds to receptors on our cells, which leads to the opening of what we call glucose transporters. From here, the glucose enters our cells and can be used for energy or stored as glycogen for later use. Next on our list of desired effects, we want this hormone to lower glucagon because its job is essentially the opposite of insulin's. So while insulin lowers blood glucose by helping it to enter our cells, glucagon raises blood glucose by signaling to the liver to release stored glucose. In anatomy, we refer to these hormones as having antagonistic effects. So in quick summary, insulin lowers blood glucose and glucagon raises it. So if we can lower glucagon, that will allow the body's insulin action to become the dominant signal. So why would we want slow stomach emptying? First, it's going to slow down our digestion processing, and because it slows it down, we'd have a slower or a more gradual absorption of our nutrients. And that more gradual absorption would lead to a gradual rise in our blood sugar levels. And because of that, the food that we've consumed would stay in our stomach for a longer period of time, increasing our feelings of fullness and satisfaction, which we call satiety. So collectively, each of these things would send signaling to our brain, which would further reduce our hunger, suppress our appetite, and reaffirm the fullness sensation that we get after eating a meal. So up to this point, we've been talking about what the perfect hormone would be after having eaten a meal. And as it turns out, our bodies already produce that hormone, and it's called GLP-1. So let's talk terminology for a minute. GLP-1 stands for Glucagon-Like Peptide, and although the name sounds complicated, the concept is pretty straightforward. Once we answer a question you might be thinking about right now. Remember earlier when we talked about glucagon, we said its job is to increase blood glucose, but for the past few moments in talking about GLP-1s, we've been talking about its role in decreasing blood glucose. Well, remember that GLP-1 stands for Glucagon-Like Peptide. This doesn't mean glucagon and GLP-1s work the same. It essentially means they look similar to one another in terms of their actual structure. Now, diving in for just a bit, GLP-1 is a naturally occurring hormone, specifically what we call an incretin hormone, which is released primarily from the L cells at the terminal end of the small intestine and within the large intestines. So after we eat, its job is to help the body respond appropriately to the nutrients that have entered the digestive system. So think about it this way. GLP-1 is like an internal messenger. Once food reaches the small intestine, GLP-1 is released into the bloodstream and it begins sending signals throughout the body. In essence, it's telling multiple organs, hey, food has arrived and it's time for us to get to work. And its release is what leads to the four things that we mentioned earlier. So now that we have a gist of what natural GLP-1s do within the body, let's take a moment to distinguish between it and the medications prescribed by a healthcare provider. Now, the natural GLP-1s that we've been talking about are released after every meal. And remember, we said specifically that they're released from what we call the L cells. But it only remains active for about 1 to 2 minutes before an enzyme called DPP-4, which stands for dipeptidyl peptidase 4, rapidly breaks it down. And after DPP-4 breaks down GLP-1, of course, GLP-1 is no longer active. And this is a good thing because it helps our body secrete just the right amount of insulin so that the signal doesn't stay on for too long. So scientists and medical researchers have created a synthetic version of the GLP-1 molecule that has some resistance to this breakdown that we mentioned. And because of that, the synthetic GLP-1 remains active for a much longer time, sometimes even an entire week. So in other words, these medications aren't creating a brand new physiological system. They're just simply extending the one that already exists. So if we think about this for a moment, if the effects of a GLP-1 can be extended for a longer period of time, like it is with the synthetic version, that would make it possible to continue supporting blood glucose regulation throughout the day. So that means a few things in particular, as we can see here on the left-hand side of the screen. It essentially means that we have increased insulin secretion, decreased glucagon secretion, reduced glucose production from the liver, and decreased stomach emptying, helping to bring blood sugar levels within a normal range. Also, it's that same slowness of stomach emptying that leads to increased fullness, which also leads to individuals decreasing their caloric intake, not because they're trying harder, but because of the prolonged activity GLP-1 gives. And this, of course, leads to weight loss. And so what began initially as a treatment for type 2 diabetes eventually became one of the most popular and in-demand medications available to treat obesity. Now, let's talk briefly about the side effects associated with GLP-1 medications because they're pretty significant. Now, because it slows gastric emptying and changes gastrointestinal function, it's not surprising that the most common symptoms involve the digestive system, especially when someone is just starting the medicine. So this commonly includes things like nausea, vomiting, constipation, and diarrhea. Another side effect is headaches, dizziness, changes in appetite, and some reports of people saying that certain foods don't taste the same anymore. And closely connected to this are feelings of general fatigue, which is most likely connected to decreased caloric intake. Also, it's not uncommon to hear of people whose blood sugar levels have become too low, especially if they're taking insulin as well. There are also reports of changes in skin and increased dryness along with hair loss. And it's helpful to note that many of these common side effects are lessened as someone becomes accustomed to the medication. Now let's turn our attention to some additional side effects. And for ease, let's place these into categories. And so the 4 categories I'll use here are simply based on the body systems. The first one that we'll talk about is a continuation of what we talked about a moment ago with the digestive system. We may see individuals develop pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas. In addition, we may see them have challenges with their gallbladder, which is the organ that produces bile. And so if bile production is compromised, that could lead to the development of things like gallstones and other conditions. Now, as it relates to the cardiovascular system, some individuals may experience an increase in their resting heart rate. But overall, while individuals are on GLP-1 medications, there's an indication that things like the risk for stroke decreases, along with there being improvements in their blood pressure. Now, we'll take a look at the complications that could arise related to the urinary system. We should also make note of the fact here that these complications stem from the gastrointestinal side effects that we talked about earlier. Things such as diarrhea and dehydration, these things could lead to further complications of the kidneys. And the next category here is a link between the nervous system and the general senses. Now with this, we're specifically referencing one's vision. Here, the research points to the fact that a rapid improvement of blood glucose levels can actually worsen the condition known as diabetic retinopathy, which is a complication of the blood vessels in the retina. And the very brief, oversimplified reason for this is because such a drastic change shocks the visual system. Okay, let's do a quick recap. We learned that GLP-1 isn't simply a weight loss hormone. It's actually one of the body's most important coordinators after a meal. It prepares the pancreas to regulate blood glucose, it slows down digestion, it communicates with the brain to regulate hunger. And GLP-1 medications work by extending the same natural physiological processes, which allows it to remain active much longer than the hormone our body produces on its own. So understanding that physiology doesn't just help us understand these medications, it also helps us to better understand and appreciate the remarkable way that our body works every time we eat. So, like we've talked about in this video, GLP-1s are utilized to treat diabetes. And to learn more about the condition of diabetes, feel free to check out the video on screen. Thanks again, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.